But anyhow, this is citizen engagement and connected government. Population is getting more sophisticated and demanding about being heard by the government. At the same time, governments are recognizing the many benefits of actively encouraging citizen engagement via tools such as social media, open data, mobile apps, and smarter websites. This session provides a glimpse into the future of open and participatory government and the innovations and technologies that are leading the way. Today our panel is made up of Mark Oliver, he's the project management lead for Infor Public Sector, David Pettinger, who is the vice president, Anthology Marketing Group, and Kit I should have asked you how to pronounce your last name before I started this. Zulueta?
Correct.
Hey. Maui County Communications Director, Office of Council Services. As a reminder, immediately following this session, there will be a 20-minute break in the exhibit area, and the fast track sessions will begin promptly at 3 o'clock back in the main room where we had lunch and laughs. Let our first speaker have at it.
So once again, I'm Mark Oliver, and we're at Infor Public Sector. But I was asked to come and talk a little bit about citizen engagement, and specifically I wanted to talk about some national trends. Now, first of all, I used to be a high school teacher, so I'm used to a very interactive kind of thing. So please, questions, we want questions. If we don't have a lot of questions, it's going to be a little on the shorter side. So we sort of planned on it being very, very interactive. Okay? So national trends. I was thinking about having about 30 or 40 slides detailing all the trends, the national trends I see. What I've chosen to do instead was put up the obvious. People's expectations are getting higher. Pure and simple. Right? We talk about citizen engagement, and as a product manager, I always want to put on other people's shoes, right? Kind of get in the mode of what are they thinking. Well, that's easy when we talk about citizen engagement because we're all citizens, right? So we know what we're expecting if we just sort of turn it around. I've been doing a little shopping lately. I've got a 9-year-old daughter, so I'm going to Toys R Us, right? And so I'm doing those kinds of things. I go to Amazon, from time to time. I'm used to that kind of website. I'm used to that sort of interaction. I'm used to getting the notifications that my item has been shipped, where it is, etc., etc. Okay? I'm used to that from the commercial end. I'm expecting that from the government end. Okay? So when we talk about the national trends of what people are expecting from governments, you can basically look at the commercial side, and that's what people are used to. That's what they're expecting. I go to the Marriott site to do, oops, I probably shouldn't say that while I'm in a Hilton. I go to the Hilton site, and I do a search, and it's returning results. Not only is it easy to find them, but it's also returning results on a map. Right? So now I can see exactly where things are. I go and I do a Google search of local shave ice, and it returns not only a list, but I can click through and see them on a map. Right? I'm expecting that kind of ease when I work with my local government. So national trends are, expectations are getting higher. I mean, it can be summed up in something that simple. So where is the industry going? Okay? And a little bit about websites, but it's also talking about mobility. Okay? It's all about empowering the citizens. Because there are some things that are going to be unique about government than it is from Amazon or Toys R Us or Google, etc. right? You're going to have information and data that they don't have. So we're really concentrating, when we're talking about empowering citizens, we're really concentrating on 3 areas of empowering the citizens. Communication. Now that we do see a lot within the commercial world, right? That communicating back, your item has shipped, right? Expected delivery date. But that communication such as, we're going to be doing maintenance on your street. There's been a water main break. There's a leak. There's communication from the government to its citizens. Now we ought to be able to sign up for that. I ought to be able to go out and go, I want to get notifications about these things. I ought to be able to have different methods of communication. I shouldn't have to go to the website. I should be able to go to their Facebook page because I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm connected all the time. I don't want to have to download specific apps to communicate with the government. I want to be able to do it the way I do it with everything else. Okay? And I know Kit's going to be talking quite a bit about the social media aspect. Okay? I ought to be able to do some nice research very easily. Again, I can do research about where is the Hiltons or Marriott's. Okay? I ought to be able to do similar kind of research, but things that are specific that governments are going to have. I ought to be able to go, you know what, I'm looking to go out to dinner tonight, but I'm curious, what businesses have had failed business or health inspections lately? I would be able to go onto the site and find that very easily. As easy as I can find the action figures from the latest How to Train Your Dragon movie. Right? Doing business. I live in Rancho Cordova, which is a small suburb of Sacramento. I'm used to being able to go out and do things very easy until I go to report a problem in my neighborhood. Going to their site was frustrating. It shouldn't be frustrating. I ought to be able to go report a problem. I ought to be able to see, I want to open a local business. How do I do it? I shouldn't have to know how to do it in order to apply online. It should walk me through how to do it. I shouldn't know what type of permit I need because I want to build something in my backyard. I should be able to answer a few questions and have it do it for me. Say, you're going to need these permits. It's going to be, the expected cost is going to be this, and it should take about this long to get it. That is where it's moving. Okay. Is there any questions, comments, etc. before I turn it over to David? Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Excuse me. For the government to deliver services compared to a business delivering services, the one thing the government cannot do once it starts, generally, which a business can. A business can discontinue service on a non-profitable sector. For the government, all the sectors are universal. That's where when I always find it difficult when people say that government should be more like business, because the government does not have that option.
Agree completely. And for those of you who didn't hear his comment, he was saying that where a business can discontinue services that are not profitable, a government can't do that. And agree completely. In fact, that's some of the challenges that governments have, is to be able to offer these things that aren't profitable.
That will pay for themselves.
Right, that won't pay, and some that won't pay for themselves, right? What I'm talking about here is the ease of which citizens can engage with the government, is how we're looking from that standpoint. But your point is well taken.
Because to provide the services are costly. Businesses pay a lot for it. They'll job it out, in fact.
Exactly. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Any other questions or comments before we turn it over to David? Yes, sir.
I believe there's a problem with government versus business because government, we're restricted in certain areas where it conflicts with ease because of like privacy concerns and the legal restrictions, like certain data would be, people might want to look at it, but we cannot provide it due to the law.
Agreed too. So when we're talking about, especially here in the research part, right, what information is available, right? And so from that standpoint, you've really got to make that separation. From a technology standpoint, you're really making a separation to where you're only providing public information, that which is supposed to legally publicly available. Correct.
But at the same time, there would be your own personal. You're talking about making it easy to access your own personal government information then from the government.
I'm sorry?
You're talking about making it easy for you yourself to access your own personal, which you wouldn't have legal access to from the government.
Correct. And so when we're talking about, especially from a mobile or web standpoint, you're talking about two different kinds of people that come in. One that comes in anonymously, which can see public data. And then once you have an account, right, then you can see all your stuff, right? So now when you're going and doing you're doing business, and that specifically comes down to when this part here, when you're going to do business, right? Now you're talking about applying for business licenses and the things that go through and the information. You got to provide the lease agreement and all that. That's only after you've signed in and have a secure account. Yes, sir.
So like basically a government version of the user account you're talking about.
Correct. Just like to buy something on Amazon, I need to have that account set up. Yes, exactly. Anything else? Okay, David?
Thank you, Mark, and good afternoon, everyone. I am David Pettinger. I'm with Anthology Marketing Group. And you may be asking yourself why I'm here. I'm a bit of an outlier if you look at the panelists at all of the different sessions. And really, I am here because I work with a lot of different organizations in the community that are really interested and care about citizen engagement. And one in particular that I'd like to tell you about today, and we can talk about others later on, but the first one is really Transform Hawaii Government, the Coalition. And what this is a community-based organization that's made up of members of the community in various sectors. It includes government, includes state employees like yourselves. It includes executives at companies across the state. It also includes everyday citizens who really care about engaging with government on various levels. We are an island state. We are separated by water. It's not very easy for people on the Big Island to access certain state services as much as it is for people here on Oahu. People that live in Hana on Maui are not quite as fortunate to have access, direct access to services as residents in Kahului. So we really believe that equity of access to state services is one of the big opportunities that exist with the State Transformation Initiative. And as you all know, because you're in it and you're working through some of the challenges that exist and many of the opportunities that exist with the business and IT transformation that we're undergoing right now, you know that this is a long-term effort. And we have a new governor. Just this month, we have a new governor inaugurated. So it's important for the community to really get together and make sure that we continue to build on the momentum that has been generated over the last few years. And that's why Transform Hawaii Government is here. So we invite you to visit the website that we have at transformhawaiigov.org. We also have social media profiles on Facebook and Twitter. And Kit's going to get a little bit more into what the social media opportunities are for engaging citizens. And I will go deeper into what Transform Hawaii Government is during the Q&A session, I believe. But I wanted to start with a short video that we produced. It's actually a couple of years old at this point, but it's something fun, and it really goes to show how government can really become more efficient, more effective, and really more engaging with citizens. Because, as Mark said, it's really about transparency. It's about offering citizens the same opportunities to access information and services that they have when they're dealing with all kinds of businesses and other organizations. But again, it's really about equity of that access. So putting more services online not only makes your job easier over the long run, but it also provides citizens the opportunity to access all of the services they need and can have real economic and real good impacts on the community.
We all know what this feels like. Sure, you can ignore the warning light and hope things will just work out. But sooner or later, this leads to that, which ultimately leads to a breakdown. Your car is trying to tell you something's wrong. In the same way, there are warning signs here in Hawaii that things are not working well. People are waiting in long lines at multiple offices and having to fill out redundant paperwork. Plus, residents have limited access to important government and business data, and some services can be agonizingly slow. Underneath all these symptoms lies the real root of the problem. See, the existing state infrastructure was established 30 years ago, before any of us knew what a smartphone, laptop, or tablet was. Trying to use today's technology, and especially the technology of tomorrow, with yesterday's infrastructure just doesn't work. The existing system makes it hard for government offices to share information and work together, and it's resulting in a bunch of complex and confusing processes. Let's face it, the current system is inefficient, inconvenient, insecure, and if we don't pull together and fix this soon, there's going to be a breakdown. State leaders have been working hard to develop a plan that will eliminate the root causes of the problem. It starts with overhauling the existing system and infrastructure. That will allow departments to easily share information with each other, which means residents can get access to services online rather than inline and avoid redundant paperwork. The new system will make Hawaii a secure state by storing all our vital data and protecting it from cybercrime and natural disasters. Best of all, by redesigning government and business processes, services will be faster and more in tune with residents' needs, and access to information will become universal, simple, and mobile. It's time to join together and make the right decision for our future. Join Transform Hawaii Government, the movement, and spread the word to your family and friends. With your help, we'll transform our government for every citizen, through every service, on every island. Find out more at transformhawaiigov.org.
So that's kind of a commercial. Real quick, one more thing. You probably recognize me with the surfboard there at the end. That was a picture of me. But really, this is more than about engaging citizens in today and in the current state of government. It's really about engaging citizens over the long term and making sure that the community understands the opportunities that exist with the work that you're doing today and that you're continuing to do over the coming years. So we really hope to stand behind you, help you in any way that we can to make sure that people are aware of the opportunities that exist and really are supportive as things are done at the legislature and elsewhere to continue the effort. And I saw a hand up for a question, so.
Yes. The transition plan that was drafted by the state of Hawaii, and I'm hearing impaired, so I really missed the subtitles on your video up there.
I'm sorry.
That's one of the many people who have hearing impairments. Doesn't mention a word about accessibility for individuals or transition to address those accessibility issues. For a law that's going to have its 25th anniversary next year. The state's subject to Section 508, and yet if you try to download and process a tax form from the state of Hawaii, all you're going to hear is a fillable form. All you will hear is edit hyperlink. What's the state doing? There seems to be no transformation. Even the website that you sent us to has 81% of problems on the first 10 pages with Section 508 accessibility. How do we work with that? When is the state government going to do something? Because city and county recently did a whole lot.
It's a very good comment, and I think really this is the kind of stuff that we like to solicit from the community in terms of feedback, helping us understand what the gaps are, and really we're hoping that the state transformation will help to address a lot of those issues, and knowing about them is the first step to finding a solution. So I can't speak on behalf of the state, but...
That's my whole point.
I'm sorry?
Not a single, the word disability does not appear anywhere in the OIMT's accessibility transition plan. Why?
I can't answer that. I'm not with the state of Hawaii, but...
several years now, and it still hasn't changed.
Yeah, I completely understand that, and we can actually add that in our comments to the state of Hawaii. There's a place on our website where people can provide feedback just like that and identify opportunities that may exist for improving state government services and accessibility, as you mentioned. So I do appreciate the comment.
That's fine. I've already discussed it with some of the Attorney General, so we're moving forward in that vein.
Well, you are clearly an engaged citizen, so thank you for that. Any other questions for now, or should I turn it over to Kit to talk a little bit about the county level? Yes.
I was just curious what your relationship was to the organization. Is Anthology like as a supporting member, or did you do the marketing program?
We didn't actually produce the video. We're working with the Hawaii Community Foundation, which provided backbone support for establishing the organization. And really, we just provide minimal support on communications and developing a newsletter and other things like that, and help to reach out to the community in venues like this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes?
Do they have a plan for how they're going to get the funding for this kind of change? I understand the need for, they're trying to muster support, but the practicality is that the state has documents dating back to statehood that still have to be scanned into the current system, and then given the procurement cycle, which is like 6 to 8 years, in addition to running the current government, you're asking the state to essentially do an additional job, and the question is, of course, is going to be, well, where's the funding and the manpower going to come from? Because everybody complains, about the taxes and about too many government employees.
I think it's a great question, and we don't hear a lot of complaints about taxes and government employees, frankly, because we work with a lot of businesses and individuals who interface with the state on a daily basis, and they see some of the inefficiencies that may exist with forms being filled out online or accessibility issues. So our job is really to help legislators and others know of these challenges and opportunities, and show the public support for investing money in this effort over the long term. Because just like any appropriation, there are limited funds and there are competing priorities. So we want to make sure that the legislators know that the people care about this, that not only business but nonprofits and others in the community are paying attention and want to make sure this continues and becomes implemented in the way that has been laid out in the plan and elsewhere. All right, with that, I'll turn it over to Kit Zulueta from Maui County to talk a little bit about citizen engagement at the county level. Thank you.
Yikes, I'm scared now. It's a Mac. So I just advance like that? All right. Hello, so my name is Kit. We flew over this morning from Maui County, and we're very excited to share with you how we've been doing to engage citizens in Maui County. On the county level, I've always thought that, whenever I look at the room, the ballroom for this summit, I was here last year, there's very few people from the county level. So we're very honored that we get to participate and share with you our story. So basically, what it looks different on an apple. Oh, I had a nice background too. But that's okay. Do you think you can pull up the PDF? I'll just talk for now while David helps me. Thank you. So yeah, counties matter, and we're doing great strides in Maui County, and we want to share your story. Basically, what I'm going to show you right now is we're going to answer the question how to get your citizens engaged. And so far, here's what we've been doing. So the premise on Maui County is addressing the first question, actually, government versus business. We're very different. And I come from Office of Consular Services, is the legislative branch of Maui County. There are 9 bosses. There are 9 council members, different opinions. How do you become a voice for a body? You cannot. And then every council meeting or committee meeting, they have the same problem. We didn't hear about this important meeting. How come I only heard about this now? This is a very important meeting to me. I didn't hear about it. So it's a common complaint that people, tell our council members. So when the current council chair took office, she gave us the directive, okay, enhance all communication aspects. Okay, go on social media, do this, do that. And that was our marching order. With limited staff, with outdated and non-existent communication policies, we marched on. The first thing that she did, that the office did, was hire me. So my position was relatively new as a communication director. The Office of Council Services provides strategic legislative support to council members. There's no communication aspect arm for the office. And some of you may relate to this, because mostly, I don't know if most of your engineers are in the IT business, which is, I'm very, very happy for the morning presenter that he spoke about communication. So I checked out similar legislative bodies, the Senate, the House of Representatives, Kauai County Council, they're on Facebook, so I checked out what they were doing. Because it's hard to compare it to the executive branch. Executive branch, you represent the mayor. Whatever the mayor goes, you roll with it. It's easier to market the mayor because the mayor has a personality. The executive branch has a distinct objective. But we can do the same on the legislative branch. First thing we did was the form a communications team. Gather up folks. Okay, are you on Facebook? Are you on Facebook? Do you know what a tweet is? So just gather up folks and brainstorm, and the first thing that happened was to create guidelines. As the legislative part of the county, we like to create policies, and policies are really important because they will guide you as you go along. So we did that. We created a social media policy, we created a communications plan, you update the existing ones, and you implement them. Copy best practices and learn from the experts, the professionals is what it is. So you get in touch with people who are already in the business, ask them how they do things, and basically just copy. It's fine. You can publish your own articles. But these values we really abide by. These are journalistic principles that we really value. You have to be consistent, accurate, credible, newsworthy, timely, and fair. Basically, you're being a media person inside your office. So you gotta keep this in mind as you go along. So as my former co-speakers mentioned, you meet your constituents where they expect to be met. And it's not gonna be in the bulletin board by the hallway. It's mostly gonna be online. Everyone is online. We know that. We already know that. And so we have to go online. So these are the first thing that we did was launch a Facebook page. So Maui County Council Facebook page, and it was really difficult in the beginning to attract people. So we had to be creative, and we always have to be creative. We had to create compelling visuals. This is our council chamber. It's very Christmassy in the upper right. You go on social media, you people like cats. Okay, there's an animal control bill. Let's put a picture of a cat. And then there's the hurricane coming up. Okay, let's be a resource to people. Let's put up important phone numbers and have people think of us as a good resource for these kinds of things. We use social media for HR purposes. When we need to hire folks, when there's someone retiring, we celebrate their accomplishments. This is a chart we create, infographics. This is a plastic bag ban report, comparison this year, that year. We have so much information that goes through the council, but they come in a form where it's really not very attractive, but they're very useful information. Usually it's just narrated sentences, but if you're creative, you can process it and make a visual out of it, and people get more attracted to that. We have maps, tons of maps that we want to share, so we just create a visual and share. That's what social media is about. We also do Throwback Thursdays. Why not? I mean, your office would have files from the 80s and 70s and photos from your former CEOs and CIOs. So this was an inauguration back in 1972. We're going to have inauguration in January, that's why. You live tweet on Twitter and be fair. You're going to tweet about someone who's in support of a particular bill. You also tweet about someone who's against it. I'm sure, can you read it? It's a little small. But, passed on first reading, this so-and-so bill on whatever. It makes it alive. I kind of want to think about social media that way, that they're like people. If it doesn't move, they're probably dead. So you gotta make sure it has a heartbeat. So you gotta update it constantly from time to time. If you cannot do that, you can schedule posts and just be creative and think of things to post and things to share. But yeah, think of it that way. Other methods, the traditional methods are still useful and valuable, and so we went that route as well. We formed a relationship with our local paper. The Maui News is the widely spread local newspaper we have on Maui. Our council chair spoke to the publisher, hey, we want to be more engaging to the citizens, so what if we create a column? And so we did. We've had the column for about going a year and a half now. But the problem with this is we have to be consistent. We have to be good writers. We have to have a good review system, and we want to be accurate in what we're putting out there. For the Maui News, it's good material to put in their paper. So it's win-win relationship. And we have people coming in council and testifying, Chair, I read in your chair's 3 minutes that so-and-so and so. And you're like, yes, they're reading, So we reach out to media and let them that you're a good resource. You talk to your radio people, your media people, and just tell them, hey, if you need information about our latest so-and-so, talk to me. This was a recent win that we have. The residential workforce housing policy got amended for Maui County. It recently passed first reading. We wrote an article about it, put it on our website, tweeted about it, and then the next day, here's Eileen Chow from the Maui News reporting on Hawaii Public Radio, and it's all over the place now. We're like, yes, everyone's picking up on it, and people are commenting, oh, we need more housing on Maui County, yada, yada, yada. So it's good stuff. Create press releases. What is that? Do good stories. Newsletters. Now these are newsletters. We create compelling visuals. There are apps that do that now, that create memes and create nice graphics that you can use for work. So yeah, this is from the High Street Journal. It's an online newsletter published by the mayor's office that we submit pages to, and these are flat pages. And eventually I'm gonna tell you about going online, because this is not really working. It's beautiful and all, but they're not searchable. Anyway, here's some more pages. We publish on recent bills and upcoming meetings and Hawaii State Association of Counties Convention. We created mailers. Mailers are still effective, believe it or not, because there's still that segment in the population that want mail, actual mail. This was a budget survey that we created during our budget process. What items do you think the council should prioritize this coming term? Is it roads? Is it real property taxes? So we created that. We created a Mahalo mailer after that, which has visuals again. Okay, this was the actual budget that was passed. And, constituents appreciate it because it has a follow-up, okay? Stock up on images. Grab a camera, all your phones or cameras, take pictures of your office, of everything. I have these 2 images over here because I just want to compare. If you were a media person, which one would you most likely read or pick up? The one on the left. I mean, you cannot read the article, but because this paper over here had photos in it, you're more attracted to it. So pictures are really important. And every time you upload something, I always think of a stock image, a stock photo to accompany the image. Now we go online where people expect to be met. This is mauicounty.gov. It's a very comprehensive website by our IT department. Now, mauicounty.gov, they produce, it has everything that you need in it, everything. But we want to do more light pieces, maybe not press release. We want to do news items. and it has a blog. However, we had troubles with the blog because it's not responsive on mobile devices. That's where people are now. Well, it is responsive, but if you go online, it's kind of weird, the structure. Spoke to Civic Plus, they said it's not a priority right now. And so we come to this. A blog is a website is a blog. It's really the same thing, and we have to think of it that way. Whenever you create a website, it's not necessarily you want to create a blog. It's the same thing. It has to be the same thing. You publish your stories on your website, which is really your blog. So we created mauicounty.us. mauicounty.us is the legislative branch of the County of Maui. It's made from WordPress. It has, a chat thing over here. Oh yeah, my mouse shows. So we have the calendar, easy access to the information that they need. We put photos. We made it very attractive, so people are attracted to come on it. So if you go on your phone right now and type in mauicounty.us, you'll see. So yeah, features a responsive layout, integrated social media buttons. That was very important for us, so someone who likes what they read can share it. Articles can be categorized by subject matter. I want all things about energy. I want all things about housing. Can search it, and articles would come up. Tools to encourage public discussion. So we have subscription buttons. We have a comment section. We have our Twitter and our Facebook embedded on it. This is how it looks on the back end. If you're familiar with WordPress, very easy content management system. Other ways you can engage and develop your communication platforms. We partnered with Maui Economic Development Board STEM program participants. They're kids. They're always looking for projects. Our Office of County Clerk is currently working with them with an app. So yeah, talk to your community. There will be people who are in the field that will be willing to help. Utilize TV. We have Olelo right now on Maui. We have Akaku TV. So we want to make sure our branding is consistent. We gave them similar graphics. And eventually we want to do more videos because everyone's doing videos right now. I got to work on that. So yeah, feature plan also is email marketing. Right now we have MailChimp integrated with our WordPress. I've consulted with some experts in WordPress, and they said MailChimp is a very good tool. It's good for RSS to email and things like that. And yeah, and another thing is you actively seek for opportunities to promote your programs. We won an award, a national award, for one of our programs, our interactive testimony program, to encourage residents from Molokai, Lanai, and Hana to submit testimony in Wailuku. So, yay, but you actively seek for these things. Transform Hawaii Government featured us in one of their newsletters, so we're very, very grateful for that. Because here, every time you have a success, you celebrate it. You celebrate your successes. And you would have troubles in your offices, but you celebrate the successes. And that's what people want to see, positive things. Also, never stop learning. I just added this slide because government social media is having their first major conference in Reno, April 29 to May 1. You folks might be interested in that because I find government social media on Facebook a very good resource for government social media. We know it's different. I've attended a social media conference, but it's more focused towards nonprofits and businesses. But their policy, we have different policies in county and in government. There are things that we cannot say, things that we cannot do. We have sunshine law, so we want to make sure the policies are good. Attend meetups. We have the Maui social media users group on Maui. So this is nice. I'm sure you have that too on Oahu. There's plenty out there. And they exchange, ideas and best practices, and should I do this, should I do that? I found this new app. So it's just exchanging of ideas. And that's it for me. Happy holidays. This is us. This is Maui County Council. So, thank you. I guess we're gonna open the floor for questions. And I'm gonna put the mic over here. Yes, sir.
I have a question about the mailer you sent out, the feedback on the polling party. I noticed that said you can respond via postcard or email or online. Did you notice a lot of folks still responding via postcard, or did they take the option to use one of the online?
Most via postcard. Yeah, they still like when they receive that thing. I think we had it perforated so they can mail it back easily. The online response was very small for that one, very small. But people went online, I guess, to get the other meeting dates and other information, but the response is still that. They still like that, I think. Other questions? Yes?
How many active followers do you have now on the various vehicles that you're using? About?
Facebook, we have almost 800, 750 around there. Twitter, we're getting close to 1,000. It's so hard on Twitter, like 900 plus, I think. But for us, it's such a big win compared to other legislative bodies. So we're like always comparing, is Kauai Council? Kauai is like 400 around there. No, it's not that we're competing against each other, but you know, you wanna know that you're ahead, you know. Of course. Other questions? Yes.
So is your social media is that like a two-way dialogue between the community and so people can comment?
For us, yes, we allow users to comment. I know some government entities don't. Before we launched our social media, let's say, I was hired in May. We launched our social media like end of June. When I got on board, a social media policy is already being reviewed. So we really spent time on a social media policy. I think that's very important before we went live. We all have to agree, okay, these are the comments that we're going to erase, these are the comments that are not allowed, and the things that we can post, the things that we cannot post. So a guideline, a policy is very important before we went live. So I think that was good.
So you have to review the people that are submitting their information, you're checking it first and then...
No, they can post live immediately. Part of my job is to monitor. So I just monitor, I get notifications. And we haven't had any incidents of like, I don't know, bad words or things that we want to delete. Mostly they're just bashing council members. Council members don't do work or whatever. So, which is fine, they're expressing their opinion, you know, we don't have to delete that. But yeah, that's part of the job, just monitor. Because, well, to add to that, we want social media to be a two-way, because that's the purpose of social media. You know, if you just make it a one-way thing, just put it on your website, you know. Social media is supposed to be social, so you receive and you share and you receive information. That's the engagement part in it, I guess.
You're saying that no matter, if once you open up a social media, the public, you have to sort of accept what they say you can't because they're freedom of speech. No matter how inappropriate it may be, how rude or how strict.
That's one way of looking at it. However, if you have strict policies, you can always point to your policies. You know, if this person talks about toot, 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 then, you know, you point to your policy. Our policy clearly states that you cannot use those words. That's why we removed it. And part of our policy is to get a screenshot of it, so we have it in file. You know, just ways to go around it. Any more questions? Yes, Bert.
So what if somebody asks a question on Facebook, what does the council think about this? Who would be the appropriate response?
I post on Facebook. However, I'm not the spokesperson for the council. I can speak for the council chair. If someone posts a question like that, I would have to word it in such a way that I'm not speaking for the council. Or I would direct this person to a council member's office, or direct this person to an article where we wrote about a certain issue in the council. Unless the question is about what did the council think of the tobacco ban in county parks, then I can say the council passed bill number 54 or ordinance number so-and-so, which prohibits smoking in county parks, including beaches. I can direct them to something that the council has voted on already. But I cannot say the council thinks it's BS. I cannot speak for the council. That's part of the challenge in this position versus the communications person for the mayor. He can freely talk, on behalf of the mayor, but my position cannot. Yes.
Do you think at some future point you'll have councilmen or council members who actively participate themselves?
On Maui County, yes. Some of them have personal Facebook pages and a council member Facebook pages. They wear various hats. However, part of our strict policy is no campaign-related posts. Sometimes they violate that, so we don't really recognize their professional pages as professional pages. So our Maui County Council page is for Maui County Council. For the rest, we speak for all 9. For their personal pages, they can do whatever they want. Yes?
To follow up on that, I'm from OIP, and so I can speak to the sunshine law issue that Maui and other counties deal with. They can't have all their council members on their Maui County page jumping in and having a conversation with the public, because that would be a discussion outside a meeting that the sunshine law isn't going to provide for. And you can change the law to provide for that, but right now, that's not something the sunshine law would allow. So it's a delicate balance for them to try to have citizen engagement without going against the sunshine law's open meeting requirements.
Yep, we've had many meetings and many conversations with OIP. Thank you for coming. It's really a challenge on the legislative branch, but...
They started their policy.
Right. And our policy is available on the website. I mean, you can just take a look at it and tweak it according to your, to your office. But any other questions? Be happy to answer. Yes.
This is kind of for anyone, but how do you manage expectations on social media? So you're saying, you'll tell them, well, they have to call their office. And they're saying, I just posted the question here. Why don't you answer it here? This is where I am. Don't tell me to call someone themselves. So what's kind of that for anyone?
You want to take that with... Well, I can have a short answer. It's part of customer service principles too. I mean, you don't say things like that. You always try to help. I've never had an incident like that, but if there's a question, answer it. Or say, I'll find out and get back to you. I'll check on that. You always give them a response that's acceptable, not, oh, we don't do that. Or, you always try to help. You always be helpful. I guess that's a principle too with government in general, right? The red tape and run around, I mean, we don't want to do that as to the extent possible.
Well, also, speaking directly to that question, you try to answer as much why you can't do that. Like in that instance, you could point to the Sunshine Law and say the Sunshine Law doesn't allow it. So then you're giving a reason, not just, well, we don't want to. You're sort of like, as a parent, is that, well, because I said so.
Perhaps you have a specific example, or does that kind of answer your question?
I mean, it was just for open discussion of when you run social media, it's something you're going to run into.
Trying to meet constituent expectations. I mean, like, for you folks, what do you expect when you go on social media? Let's see. Any expectations? You go to Honolulu City and County Office of the Mayor. What do you want to see on social media? Yes.
First of all, thank you so much for your presentation. My name is Nicole. I come from the neighborhood board system with the City and County of Honolulu. So as you can imagine, we frequently run into situations on our social media where people want the answers the way that they've actually posed the question, if it's on Facebook or Twitter. If we can't answer it online, we do try to provide a small snippet as to why we can't answer online, but we'll always go the step to ask for their direct line or a way that we can reach out to them directly. So instead of having them call us back, we'll find out what the answer is as best as possible and what is legally permissible to provide, and then we'll call them back or email them directly so they still feel like we're doing our best as government to reach back out to them, and they don't have to do the legwork themselves of running through the bureaucracy and the recorded phone, answer machine. So that's one way to maybe protect the privacy, but still maintain a level of service that they may find a little bit more acceptable than just we can't answer it. So that's something that we do in our office.
And then the Coast Commission, they do tweet-ups and meetups, and the citizens are really engaged with the events that they put on, so that's really, really commendable. Like, I guess one expectation on social media is the response, right? You expect a response. Like, if you have a complaint with Walmart, like we went to Walmart and fish were dead in their aquarium, and then so my boyfriend posted a photo on Instagram and tagged Walmart, and Walmart responded, "Oh, we're sorry, this is not how we do our, take care of our animals." And the next day it's changed. Fish are alive. No, but there's a response. You get things done on social media. That's the expectation, I guess, Other questions? Yes, sir.
I'm wondering, social media using is great and gives us a lot of opportunities, but how do you address the point that social media is heavily biased? Like, young people are heavily overrepresented, where old people are heavily underrepresented. Like, how do you account for that kind of difference?
Social media is biased. I think per page or per company, it has a target audience too.
Yeah, I'd have to say I don't think that that's an accurate representation. These various forms of media are available to people on an opt-in basis, and there are, of course, generational differences. The bike lane really doesn't appeal to my father, who's a 92-year-old amputee either. So yes, in the absolute and most narrow definition, it is biased. But what it has done is opened up vehicles, avenues for communication to people who might not otherwise communicate in the same way my 92-year-old dad does, or that I do. And I think from that point of view and addressing future generations, it's absolutely imperative that we all wrap our head around it, get body parts out of other body parts, and if necessary, do what I do, which is I go door to door in my neighborhood. I'm on the neighborhood board, and I help older people to use the media that's available to them, and that is also, I think, a necessary part of civic engagement. Does that answer your question?
Actually, it's a common misconception that the younger generation is majority now, because the largest growing population of users on Facebook is 55 and older, and it's kind of a more recent study done. They find it's easier to keep in contact with people they don't see anymore. So it may have been true before, but I think as years go on, this will change a lot. The landscape of the demographics that are accessing this information through Facebook and Twitter will really transform.
I think that's right. And I think another thing that Kit said is that she uses direct mail to reach out to certain demographics of voters and citizens. So I think it's important to have a good mix of communications vehicles in order to reach certain folks who are not necessarily on social media.
Yeah, again, it's meeting the people where they expect to be met, right? So younger generation or Facebook, social media users expect to be met on social media. Others expect to be met on Maui News. Others expect to be met at the community center. So we want to cater to everyone as much as we can.
Oh, we have a question here.
I understand what you say about mainstream responding to citizens. I also remember this one thing, I'm not sure if it's goals or if it's a meeting, but I was wondering how you started that places for citizen action, these citizens do more with social media. And a lot of times social media does not carry on or like people who supported presidential candidates didn't run for office. So for me, he doesn't want to spend much time except on Twitter. exit to social media. I always wonder if I'm being left out. And I don't want to spend the time or the money for social media. I'd rather do other. So I'm also wondering, even though I'm interested in doing that. So that's where I was coming from. What is your primary source? Yeah, I would very much agree. The primary source is social media.
The comment was that if you're not on social media, there's a fear of being left out of the conversation and of engagement as a citizen. And from my perspective, I think there is no one primary source for information or engagement. There has to be a myriad of opportunities to engage with the public. So that's why I think social media is so important to have that conversation. You need to have a website that offers access to information. There also should be, I believe there should continue to be an opportunity for in-person engagement as well, because that will always be the preferred method to engage with state government and I think local governments as well for many people.
Like on Maui County Council, our primary source, let's say there's a community meeting coming up, but it's good that we have policies set and laws set. Our primary source is the Office of County Clerk. They post the agenda on a bulletin board, and then we post it online. And then we just share that link on social media, directing people to our website. So it's still directing them to one source, but social media as a means to disseminate the information out there. And we have to recognize there are internet trolls and there are fake news out there. These are challenges on social media that we have to not accept, but know that exist. And we have to be diligent to know which ones are the real ones and which ones are not. So we have to know what the sources are, and we still have to be diligent as citizens on the information out there.
Out of curiosity, I know we're running out of time, but I know many of us are state employees, others are residents of the community or engaged in state government in other ways. But how many of you are on social media or would prefer to engage with government via social media, by a raise of hands? So maybe about a third of you. And how many would prefer to engage with government in person? A handful. And what about through methods like direct mail or other methods? We have a few hands. Any other ways that you can envision interacting with state government?
The only reason I'm not raising my hand to any of your things is because I'm on your end. I'm on her end. I'm actually the one that's responding to these requests for information.
So what would you prefer as somebody that's fulfilling those requests for information?
I don't prefer to answer direct questions on social media. I don't like it when people post on social media a question about their specific situation. I will respond to them that I can't answer that because private information. Please contact me. Here's my phone number, here's my email address. Contact me. I will help you wherever I can. But I'm not going to answer that publicly.
I think that's fair. I think that goes to the point that there's a time and place for each of these ways of engaging with government, whether it be over the phone or online or in person.
And our philosophy is to push our information out to any vehicle available for anybody who might be interested. If you like reading it on social media, we'll have it there. If you like reading it on our website, we'll have it there. If you want to read it on a paper press release, give me your address, I'll mail it to you. Whatever it takes, we will get that information to you.
The comment for those in the back was basically we will use all of the above sources to engage with citizens and get information out there. Thank you.
I think the use of the different methods, you have reached your goal. Your goal is to get them engaged. The fact that they got back to you and asked the question, that was your goal, wasn't it? So,
doesn't matter what media.
What if they knock on your door? Hi, is this the residence of?
Coffee and sit them down.
Yeah, awesome.
That's what it takes.
You're running for office. No, just kidding.